everyone. Merry Christmas and happy holidays. I hope you're having a wonderful time with your family and your friends.
There are times when you just don't have that many birds at your bird feeders. It doesn't mean that you're doing something wrong. I mean, you've got the right seed, you provide the cover, there are no predators around, but birds have their own minds and they move from places to places. For example, last month I had hundreds of pine siskin, goldfinches, house finches, juncos, all sorts of sparrows, and recently there's only been the resident birds. So this is where you have to think and take some of the bird feeders down. Don't waste the seed. I had Niger, a finch feeder in front of my kitchen window. I took it down. Niger seed goes bad really fast and it's quite expensive. I had another feeder closer to the house. That went down as well. So now I am down to 4 feeders and I fill them with seed that's popular with resident birds. For example, I have plain sunflower seed for chickadees and titmice. Then I have 2 peanut feeders because I still have a few blue jays and nuthatches. And then there's a safflower seed feeder that I keep for our cardinals. So don't waste the seed. Take the feeders down when you don't have that many birds at your bird feeders.
Marsha Fowler has 10 of our bird feeders and she just loves all the bird cacophony. Her problem is the neighbor's cats that she just cannot keep away from her yard. She's tried collars, bells, repellents, hosing it with cold water. Her alarm system says that the cat is there at all hours, and just last week it triggered the alarm system 143 times. The neighbors no longer speak to Marsha because of all her complaints, but she still finds a lot of dead birds and feathers all over her backyard. What do you suggest, David?
Your question about how to keep your neighbor's cat out of your yard is not an easy one to answer, mainly because I went through exactly the same thing in Montreal, except that it wasn't just one cat, but 4 cats from 4 different neighbors. In fact, it was that experience that caused me to write numerous articles and even a book draft on the subject of reducing cat predation on birds in general. You're probably aware that free-ranging cats kill somewhere in the neighborhood of 1 billion birds in North America each year. That's a well-documented fact. There's a great book out there on the subject called Cat Wars, and it's worth a read. Anyway, I could spend hours discussing the problems of cat predation on our birds, but you need some practical solutions right now. Sounds like you've already burned a bridge with your neighbors that they'll no longer talk to you. And trying to reason with them any further will get you nowhere. The cheapest solution is to at least reduce the kill potential of that cat by making sure that your feeders aren't located anywhere near places for a cat to hide and ambush them. Using seed trays to prevent seed spillage that attracts ground-feeding birds can also help. But likely you've taken both those steps. So another trick is to lay down some thorny or prickly bushes like hawthorn branches in a dense fashion under your feeders to keep that cat from getting too close to any birds feeding on the ground. And surrounding ground feeders with a 2x4 welded wire rabbit fencing can also hamper a cat from catching your birds. More expensive options include installing a commercially available cat-proof fence around your yard, or at least around the area where your feeders are located. Or you could buy 1 or 2 of those special commercial devices known as the Scarecrow, which is hooked to a hose and equipped with a motion sensor. They work pretty well in a restricted area. Another thought would be for you to get a cat-hating dog or just borrow one from a friend for a few weeks. That would only be temporary. The last thing I could suggest to you is to advise the neighbor that you're going to start using humane live traps to catch their cat if it comes into your yard, and take it to a local shelter and then let them know it's there. But I have to admit, it would be a pretty desperate move on your part that's only likely to escalate the feud with your neighbor. Hopefully somewhere in there's a solution that might work for you.
A new study from Oregon Health and Science University reveals why parrots are so much smarter and so much longer lived than any other birds. So basically, it turns out that parrots are to other birds as we humans are to primates. Parrots have evolved in the way that makes them different to birds as we humans are different to a chimpanzee. Yes, we do have a lot of common traits with a chimp, but just like us humans, parrots have evolved to have larger brains and more genes to control aging. Now it will be interesting to see a comparative study between a parrot and a raven, who is also considered to be one of the smartest and the longest lived birds. God created the world and the Dutch created the Netherlands is a favorite Dutch expression. With over 26% of their country below sea level, the Dutch have had to do some incredible things to keep the North Sea at bay. In 1932, one of those incredible things was creating a huge freshwater lake, the Markermeer, which served as a buffer between the sea and the land. Once it was teeming with aquatic and avian life, but dredging operations over the years have made the water murky and totally uninhabitable. Well, all of that is about to change. 700 hectares or 1,300 acres of land have been moved into the lake, which will create 5 islets. At the moment, these islets are just dunes, but they have already caused an explosion of plankton, which is a main food source for a lot of fish and birds, and it's already attracting a lot of different wildlife that hasn't been seen there in years. Over the next couple of years, the dunes will grow vegetation, and marshes will also grow between the islands, attracting even more wildlife. 4 of the islets will be completely closed off to humans, and one of them will have paths and observation towers to watch birds. The Night Owl Hospital, which is located in Vancouver, Canada, is in great trouble. The hospital treats exotic birds and is in great need of 2 more vets on staff. For the past 5 years, Dr. Anne McDonald has been trying to hire Canadian vets, but she's had no luck. She's found qualified international vets, but the Canadian government is not allowing her to hire them, stating that she hasn't looked hard enough to find someone locally. The hospital treats 10,000 exotic birds a year and has just inherited 163 birds from a local refuge when the owner died. If Dr. Anne McDonald doesn't find 2 more vets in the next couple of years, she will have no choice but shut down the hospital. So if you know any Canadian vets that love working with birds, please get in touch with the hospital. And this is our last photo contest of 2018. We do have all the new categories for 2019. I will send them in my email and we will post them on our website. But first, let's check out the top 5 in December's photo contest, Unusual Encounters. And the 3rd place goes to Rudolph the Red-Nosed Waxwing by Mario Aquilina. Congratulations, Mario. 2nd place, a very unusual photo I find, is by Susan Anders. Congratulations, Susan. And our 1st place is Helmer Nielsen with a boreal owl on a car. Very unusual. Congratulations, everybody. Each of you will be receiving our Brom food court. Enjoy it. Well, did you know that January 21st is a Squirrel Appreciation Day? So we thought we will dedicate our January photo contest to squirrels. Have fun, everyone. All right, I'm off to check on my turkey in the oven. Enjoy the rest of your holidays. I'll catch you in 2 weeks. And if you want to be a judge on the next photo contest, just send me an email. Take care, everyone.